So together everything sounds.
Dance, shake your dash, get your plans. I don't see who I go carry go.
The life is coming up gradually. FL Studio is the best DAW to use. Well, this video is not about that. It will be on my next post. But then, welcome to our channel. Vicky Melody here once again. And you know what we do on this channel? We review how we make beats, mix, master, and everything. So if you're in for those kind of stuff, hit the like, subscribe, and follow us. So we move. So let me show you. I was doing a project and I love the project. You guys know whenever I love a project, I always talk about my mixing process on how I did that. So let me just play a little bit of the project and you see what it sounds like. And in this particular project, you have to watch from the beginning to the end because what made this particular mix to shine is actually the automations I did on some parts. So any producer that doesn't do automation is actually a lazy producer because automations is what brings life and add dynamics to your sound. So let me just head straight to without wasting much of your time. All right, let me just play a snippet of the song we're going to be working on and see what it sounds like.
When the people don't go, when I step for the party, them I know so. I get a girl for Cairo. She did do meetings on the low. I don't smoke, I don't shy, yo. For this party, everybody hold the own. As you dance the dance, shake your dash, get your plans. I don't see who I go carry go. Dance.
So you see at that part where he said, I was automating my reverb at that point. So let me just head straight into Cubase because I make my vocals in Cubase and then do the rest of my production in FL Studio. So let's head into Cubase and see what we have there. Okay, all right. This is the project we have here. A lot is actually going on the project, as you can see on the screen. Where mostly the highlight of this particular mix is the automations I did. I love doing automations here and there, and automation adds life, dynamics, and interest to your stuff because it makes it less boring. You're trying to introduce new stuff to like ear candy to make the ear like reason. Okay, what's happening there? What's happening there? So I don't know. I made this video earlier, but I realized that the microphone I've been using, the cord is bad. So I had to switch over to this particular little mic. I don't know how it sounds, but you guys have to bear with me. Let's manage that and see what we have. So I have the lead vocal. Normally, in a project, the first thing I like to do before mixing is my arrangement. I like to arrange this is my lead vocal, my verses on the lead. This is for the chorus, the lead vocal. This is the backup for these are the backups for the chorus, and these other ones are more like the ad libs and little backups for the verses. So I like to separate them. So when I look at it visually, I know what I'm doing. Sometimes if I'm working on a project that has multiple tracks, I will have to use folders, create folder, and then arrange your stuff. Arrangement is usually the first step. So what I have on my lead vocal, let me bypass everything on the lower zone. Let me bring up my mixer here. So this is Cubase 14. So someone on the channel on my last video commented and said I should try out Cubase 14. So I just installed Cubase 14 and I would say it's amazing. It's one of the best Cubases I've used because one of the reasons is because of there's something on the screen. I don't know. Let me bring up the main mixer here. You see this stereo and mono. When you're mixing, most of the times the heavy and important elements in your sound are usually in the middle, in the mono. That's where the vocal, the kick, the snare, clap, everything lies. The ambient is what's in the side image. So most times when you're mixing, you have to sometimes mix in mono, listen to the song in mono. You get me? So most times this is very helpful. Once you just click it, you don't need to use any plugin. You just start listening to your song in mono, and also switch back to your stereo. That's one of the things I love about this new Cubase. All right, so on this is my lead. I like to color them so I look at it and I know exactly where I am without even thinking twice. So what I have on my lead vocal is the auto tune and the SSL EQ just to cut off only the lows, and give you some analog feel. But firstly, shout out to K Flow. That's the name of the artist on this song. An amazing talent. The guy is based in the UK. We've done a couple of projects together. We are currently working on an EP. The guy is amazing. You can check him out on Instagram. His name is K Flow. You get, so do check him out. And he's an amazing singer. With auto tune I added isn't because I wanted to pitch correct his vocals. His vocals are already sounding nice. What auto tune does to a good singer is just to add flavor, that digital flavor to the record, not necessarily to tune it. If I could bypass the auto tune and you listen to his vocal and hear what he sounds like naturally.
I get a girl for Cairo. She did do meetings on the low.
The guy is an amazing singer. So what autotune does to a good singer is not to make it sound robotic. So that's the reason I use autotune. And another thing, I usually say it on the channel, autotune is not a bad thing, but the way you use it is another thing. The person has to be a good singer. And the reason why we use autotune is because most of the synths, the VSTs we use to play the on the beat are digital sounds and they are 100% on the note. You get, so you can't use a vocal that is not perfect on 100% to compete with a synth, a keyboard that was played from a digital. Had it been it was played with a live guitar, where you know you didn't 100% tune your guitars, yeah, you won't notice. But when you're working on digital stuff, auto tune is usually very important. So for those who say I don't like using auto tune, I use autotune on all of the tracks. Then I'm sending my lead vocal to my lead group. This is where everything is happening. You get, so the first thing I added there was the Fablter C2. You get, just to compress the peaks, to just tame the peaks and get just little compression on it.
She did do meetings on the low.
Just little when when he's going so loud, I just take it down. You get, and I had to bring in a far filter Q3. This is one of the best EQs you can find. Far filter just released the far filter Q4, and I can't wait to have my hands on those ones because I saw some amazing stuff on them. So now what I did was and it's important to know the difference between a cut and a shelf. Now, if you observe here, I didn't do a low cut, I did a low shelf. Shelf is more like taking down the volume of a particular frequency range. The reason I did this was because I've already done the low cut on with the SSL EQ, so no point doing that again. So, but I wanted this particular area. Let me play the frequency range I was working on here. The clarity of the voice is not there. You get, from 500 hertz upwards is where the clarity of what the lyrics of the person is saying is. Those frequencies low. This is Afrobeat. Those frequencies are occupied by the low kicks, bass, and some other maybe pad, e pianos and stuff. So there's no point making that part too present. So I had to like take it down like 3 - 3 dB just to bring it down, not to remove everything there, but to just lower that particular range. And I was also doing some cuts around the 500 around here. And I was also doing some other cuts too on the whistle area. Kinda always watch tutorial videos with good headsets or your speaker so that you understand the frequencies they're working on. So that was all I did for that. And the next thing I added was a de-esser. You already know what a de-esser does.
She did do meetings on the low.
All right, so then I brought in my main compressor, the CLA2A, the one of the best compressors you can use on vocals. You guys, I'm not using any analog stuff. I've already added an analog feel with the EQ I added on the channel. I used this to do the main compression.
I don't smoke, I don't shy, yo. When I step for the party, them I know so.
All right, so
I get a girl.
another thing I did, now this is another major place I did something important. So now I wanted to tone the vocal. I used a C6 multiband compression. Normally I use a C4, but I used this particular C6. Now what I was doing is on the lows.
For this party, everybody hold the own.
So what I was doing here on the C6 is made up of the four bands, the ideal 1, 2, 3, 4, then extra two, 1, 2. So what I was doing on the lows, like you could, there is nothing there, so I killed the whole compression, like take everything down. Then on the mids, on the boxy area,
Own. I see they dance the dance.
so I was compressing it a little bit. I didn't want that boxy area since it's not too important in the sound. I didn't want it so present, so I was docking it down a little bit. Then in the mid frequency,
Dance, shake your dance.
this is the important part of every vocal actually. So I was also doing a little bit of compression,
Get your plans.
then also a little bit of compression on the highs, just subtle compression. But where I now used these two extra floating bands, these two, uh, for harshness, I had to make it tiny, like the slope is tiny. I'll show you what I was taking away.
I go carry go. Oh. For this party, everybody hold the own.
That particular frequency can get so painful in the ear, so I was taking that down, and also this particular boxy area.
Own. I see they dance the dance.
So together everything sounds.
Dance, shake your dance, get your plans. I don't see who I go carry go.
The life is coming up gradually. You get me? So the next thing I added was, did I use this guy? Then okay, one more dynamic EQ on this particular frequency. The whistle area, just ducking it down, because you listen, once you listen a couple of times, you know the next thing you want to do. Mixing is not copy and paste. Yeah, so that was pretty much everything I did. Now the second thing I did, I wanted to add, it's good to add that stereo feel on a vocal to make a vocal sound wider. You understand? But me personally, I don't like using special plugins. You know what special plugins are now? On, you can just see on these are special or panel, like to add space or width. I don't like adding special plugins on my insert. You get, so I like having them on a different bus altogether, so I can work on it the way I like. So that was why I created this group here, this bus here, and I named it wide. So what I had there was, I had the far filter, cut off the lows. I had compressor, heavy compression, like I didn't want it to have the dynamics because I wanted to blend it into the lead vocal. You get. Then the widen effect is, I use the doubler two, where I have one to the left and one to the right. Then I put off the direct signal, so I won't be hearing the main lead vocal. I'll just be hearing the two sides. Then I added some excitement or distortion to it. Uh, that was just it at the moment. At the moment. So then I sent, this is my lead vocal. I sent my lead vocal to the wide bus. Then I had to like blend it in gradually, like until I can't perceive it, or I can perceive it just in between to when it sounds nice. Let me just solo that particular wide bus so you will hear what we are adding. This is it.
You hold the own. As you they dance the dance, shake your dance.
So that's what we are adding to our lead vocal. So I just had to like blend it in, more like parallel compression, but that's not what I want to call it. This is more like is is a parallel processing, but just I was making my vocal wider. You get. So, and lastly, if you observe on the wide channel, I added a track spacer on it. And what I did was I came to the lead vocal again. I sent it to this wide track spacer. You get me? Added it there. So
Get your plans.
my lead vocal is now activating this track spacer on the wide signal. But then what I did was I changed my track spacer to mid and side. Normally it comes in left and right. I changed it to mid and side and now moved it to the mid, 100% mid. So what I'm trying to achieve is when my vocal and the wide signal are coming together, my lead vocal deletes everything that is in the middle of that wide frequency, so that my lead vocal sits in the middle Why the only signal I'm having is just from the side, so the side doesn't clash with uh, my lead vocal. So this is if I play the lead vocal, you see the lead vocal turning down the middle of the side. I don't know if it makes sense, but
I don't see who I go carry go. Oh. For this party, everybody hold the own.
you get. I don't know if it's making sense, but I believe it's making sense. So the next thing I added on my send was the my delay.
As you they dance the dance, shake your dance. As the party done finish, I know I see finish. I want God myself, defend you like I'm Vidish.
But then
Oh no.
I didn't like the delay. It was clashing with my lead vocal. I love what he was singing there, and I didn't want it to clash. So what I did was the side chain. I had to do the side chain on my delay. So when the lead vocal is singing, the delay is a little bit off. Then when the lead vocal gives space, the delay now comes through.
For this party, everybody hold the own. As you they dance the dance, shake your dance, get your plans. I don't see who I go carry go. Oh. For I get a girl for Cairo. Oh. She did do meetings on the low. Oh.
So you see, it comes only when there is a space, when the lead vocal is not active. So that I also sent it to my reverb.
I don't smoke, I don't shy, yo. Oh. For this party, everybody hold the own. As you they dance the dance, shake your dance, get your plans.
Yeah, so what else did I do? Okay, I also added on the beat there, I added the track spacer there, and also did the same thing, the side chain where I'm just targeting the middle of the beat where the lead vocal will create space on the beat so that the lead vocal can sit properly on the beat. I was also sending it to that track spacer on the beat. You get, so when the beat is playing with the lead vocal, the sidechain is creating space for the lead vocal to sit properly in the middle.
I don't see who I go carry go. Oh. For this party, everybody hold the own. As you they dance the dance, shake your dance, get your plans.
You get me? So now we get to the interesting part of the whole mix. All right, this particular automation here is on my delay send. Is on my delay send where I sent on my lead vocal. This is my lead vocal where I sent it to the delay. This particular automation is increasing the send level and bringing it down just for that intro. You watch this.
Yeah. No.
So that was what I was doing in that intro to add that interest. So some of these automations were at the backups. So there's this particular word he said before the chorus came in. This particular word, I gave it a big reverb so that it will maintain that space and drive us into the chorus.
I don't see who I go carry go.
So I was automating the Valhalla vintage reverb. I was automating both the decay and the mix of it. So at that point, you see that the mix and this is at the normal level. But when it gets to that point, it increases.
I don't see who I go carry go. Dance. Yeah.
You get. And there is another automation here. This one is for these backups here that are on the chorus. So but what I did there was, this is the main backup. Let me solo it.
Dance. Make you dance.
So when it's saying make it dance, so that I use the radio effect on this track, I didn't want it to have a lot of reverb when he was saying, because the artist, when I sent him the first review, he said that particular one is more like in the background, and I know it was the reverb that was doing that. So I was now automating my reverb that when they sing the first part.
Dancey, dancey, dancer. Make you dancer.
So when he saying make it dance, so I duck down the mix of the reverb. So you watch this mix going up and down in the sound.
Dancer. Make you dancer. Make you dancer. Shaky, shaky, yeah,
So you see when he said all along, he said he wanted it to be big. So I used the automation to give him more mix. And I was just playing around with the automations.
Dancey, dancey, dancer. Make you dancer. Make you dancer. Shaky, shaky, yeah,
So automation is one thing that will open your creative mind to doing a lot of stuff. You get, so that's just much. I don't want the video to get long. So any other kind of video you want to see on the channel, do well to just drop it on in the comment section. I try as much as possible to respond to everybody and also do everybody's video. Someone said I should show in the last video I dropped, someone said I should show how to automate plugins in FL Studio, which I'm still going to do that quite soon. But in my next video, I'll be telling you why I feel FL Studio is the best DAW, and there are some plugins in FL Studio that is being underrated and most people don't look at it, and that plugin is what makes FL Studio the best. So see you guys on the next one. Stay creative. Shit, my mic just chew.